Welcome back to another episode of Juked by Daylight. We've had a little bit of sickness. I've been moving home, so we've been very delayed in getting this first episode of 2023 out and about. But we're back, and I'm joined obviously again by my good friend and brother from another mother, Mitchell. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, dude. I'm doing great. Obviously, I was sick as well at the end of the year, but you know, shit happens, I guess.
Yeah,
But
we had a lot going on.
again, it's good to be back, and we are gonna kick it off straight away with a general question, because everybody knows this who plays Dead by Daylight, and everybody was asking the same question: is Bubba gonna leave or not?
Oh yeah, Big Bubba.
When I saw it, that Baba could potentially leave Dead by Daylight, I was really sad. Because if people know me, I love Baba.
I think we all do, right? I think everybody loves Bubba.
Yeah, he's like the biggest meme. Like, he can't leave. Come on now. But yeah, like when I saw that, then I was like, nah, I honestly don't think he was gonna leave.
No.
I was more like, if anything happens to him, it's probably gonna be like a Demogorgon Nancy Steve thing again, right? Where he still be in the game, but he's not purchasable by Steam store.
So just the license expiring
like,
again, basically, and not purchasable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, I don't think that was ever gonna happen, that he would actually like completely leave the game, because that would cost them a lot of money as well, right?
Yeah, that'd be crazy, because if they had to fully remove him from the game, I'm pretty sure they would have to refund every account.
Everything.
That
Yeah,
ever
everything.
purchased him, right?
Skins, the character himself, like everything. So like, I don't think that's that would be great for behavior.
That would cost them way too much money. They'd be better off trying to like extend the license. I think cost-wise, probably more cost-effective than to pay more money to retain the license. So yeah, so that's what everyone was buzzing on about. And then I think the news dropped. I think it was really from Spook and Jukes, right? He retweeted or re-Instagrammed, I should say, a picture from Dead by Daylight saying that he's not going anywhere.
And then with this nice mock of Bubba as well.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, to be fair. And then there's a nice sort of news article, quite short and sweet, from bloodydisgusting.com that was released a couple of days ago, basically saying Behavior Interactive have squashed the rumor regarding Leatherface leaving Dead by Daylight. So those of you fearing that everyone's favorite chainsaw-wielding cannibal in Leatherface would be leaving Dead by Daylight over the next couple of months can now rest easy. Developer Behavior Interactive has responded to the rumor, saying that Leatherface is sticking around. A member of Behavior's interactive PR team issued the following statement regarding the rumor and Dead by Daylight within the next few months. So they said, I am glad to share with you that the cannibal is indeed staying, a part of the Dead by Daylight experience. He's hooked on us. See you in the fog. So the rumor over Leatherface's original departure was actually sparked by a Twitter fan account that had been looking over Dead by Daylight's code from the recent public test build. So the fan account had noticed changes in Leatherface perk strings that gave the impression that the development team was prepping for the license for Leatherface to expire, which probably ties in quite nicely with the release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I think is coming out in next month, apparently.
Yeah, February, right?
Yeah,
like
February.
End of February, I think.
Something like that. So that's a Gun Interactive game, and they're the same guys that made the Friday the 13th game, which was popular in the beginning and then kind of died when they got rid of their dedicated servers. So basically this person was going through the code of the PTB, saw that they changed the names of Bubba's perks, which is what they did to Demogorgon and Nancy and Steve when they were prepping to remove. So that led them to believe that Leatherface was being removed. So the article continues that while Dead by Daylight is currently in the midst of their Lunar New Year event known as the Moonlight Burrow, which we're currently in at the moment, which sees the return of red envelopes and the arrival of paper lanterns and several outfits to unlock. The event kicks off and lasts until January 24th. So yeah, so really that is the big news. Bubba's not leaving, and we've got the new event in place, which is kind of cool. I mean, there's not really anything massive going on with the new event, is there really? Just new tomes to complete.
Not really.
No.
Well, like
And
I've played last week a bit, obviously, because I also stream during the week, but I haven't seen anything special actually. Like there's no tome challenges or anything. I haven't seen envelopes or whatsoever, like nothing. They only changed like the decor a bit, but that's it. So I don't know if it's bugged or anything, or if it's not working right, or that they forget to turn it on. Like I don't know.
yeah,
But
it's a bit weird. I haven't played any of the new event yet. It's only just started, right? Was it a couple of days ago? I think that they
yeah, I
kicked it
think it
off.
was Tuesday
Okay.
that it already should have started. Like on Tuesday, the decor of like the loading screen and stuff, like the background, that's changed. But
Okay.
like in-game stuff, nothing really. Like you have some codes that you can fill in, but like to get some stuff, but nothing special.
Okay. So yeah, so the good news then really, and the only news is that Bubba's staying and Behaviour have now confirmed that. So that's pretty good. I did hear a rumor though, which isn't addressed in this article, from another member of the DBD community. I think it was on Instagram. I saw this, and apparently I don't know if this is true, so this is just speculation, but this could very well be true. Apparently, Behaviour did this on purpose, changing Bubba's perk names in the code, because they believe that the person running the DBD leaks on Twitter is obviously an employee of Behaviour. And I think that they were trying to do that to see if they could work out who it was that's leaking the
Leaking the
information.
stuff.
But I don't know. I don't
That
know because there's other rumors that Behaviour are behind DBD leaks anyway, right? And that they're doing it on
yeah.
purpose, like leaking the information as though it's being leaked, but it's just them trying to stir up controversy. So I don't know, but it's definitely someone inside. It's just whether they're authorized to do that or not is, I think, the thing that's up for debate.
That's interesting though. That would be really smart to do it like that though.
Yeah, to try and honey dick, because there's obviously only a few people, I guess, there that would maybe read the code or be able to read the code. I don't really know how it works,
exactly.
but so I thought that was quite an interesting rumor, just to tag on to the news and drama of Bubba staying with us. But that's good news. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy Basement Bubba and the salt that comes with that. I think it's an absolute meme. And it's funny to annoy people, right? Because anyone that gets annoyed by Bubba camping, it's just like, he's kind of designed that way, right? Whether they've done that on purpose or not.
Not only that, like it's literally the biggest meme. Like literally the biggest meme out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally the funniest character, I think. Especially when he's like nodding and stuff. I don't know how you can't laugh at that. It's just hilarious. But yeah, okay, so that's kind of the news and drama, right? That's all we got. We got the event and we got Bubba down.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be it for those two factors. And then we have obviously our character spotlight for this week, and that's
Ooh,
gonna be the hillbilly.
nice, the other chainsaw guy.
Yeah, the other chainsaw guy, the smaller version of Baba.
And the smaller lore as well to go with it, which you'll be happy to.
Yeah,
To hear.
that's really good. That's nice.
Cool.
So talking about the lore, let's jump right into it. The son of wealthy landowners Mac Thompson Sr. and Evelyn Thompson. This unnamed boy was an unwanted child born to savage parents. Hideously discovered he was shut away from society. So ashamed of their son, they bricked him off into a room and fed him through a hole in the wall. When the boy escaped, he took his revenge savagely and terribly, slaughtering the parents that had tortured him instead of raising him. After deed was done, he continued to live his life at the farm, taking out his deranged violence on the animals that were allowed to run free. As he finally broke free from his shackles, he ran through the cornfields, chasing, slaughtering whatever he could find. They never found the bodies of Max and Evelyn, but they did find tortured and disemboweled animals all over the farm. Goldwind Farm was quickly settled, and the land split up and sold off. There was never a buyer for the farmhouse. Perhaps it was the sound of the chainsaw you could hear throughout those summer nights.
So
Well,
this,
that's
that's
kind of insane. Holy crap.
I got a couple of points from that I kind of want to address, and I think this is just because, as we said before we started recording, the old DBD characters, their lore was like very, very short compared to like the new characters that they're releasing.
Yeah, for sure.
But some of the points here that I don't quite get. So, in the first paragraph, and this is from deadbydaylightfandom.com, it said when the boy escaped. They kind of grazed over the fact that he was bricked up in a wall, right? He was
in a room,
yeah,
and they fed him through a hole in the wall.
Like, yeah, like how the fuck is he escaping from that? Like, they've really just skipped a whole plot point and gone when the boy escaped and just grazed over it. Like, how is he getting out of that situation? A couple more lines of dialogue is all they needed, and then they could have explained how he got out. He's bricked up in a room. Like,
I don't get. Like, at some point, like it says, as he finally broke free from his shackles, he ran through the cornfields. Like, so he escaped the room, but he was still stuck in his shackles.
Yeah, like what the fuck? And when was he shackled? They never said that. So all of a sudden he's got shackles now? Or is that like metaphorically? Like as he finally broke free from his shackles, is that like, are they just saying metaphorically like when he broke free? It's just weird wording, like doesn't make sense.
Yeah, honestly, it would not surprise me if they don't mean it like metaphorically.
Yeah. And then also, I don't understand where the chainsaw comes from. I know originally he was like, oh, well, we can't have Leatherface, so we're going to create our own chainsaw killer. Like, that's absolutely fine. But the lore is actually too short here. I feel like there's not enough information that explains anything. Like, why is his chainsaw his weapon of choice? Like, it doesn't make
they
sense.
could have easily put, like, in, like, somewhere in there, like, that he did all this with his chainsaw. Like that would make sense, right?
Yeah, they only mention it at the end. Perhaps it was the sound of the chainsaw you could hear, but that doesn't have any relevance to the rest of the lore because it's not mentioned. So reading it, if you never played the game and you read that, you'd be like, "Oh, so he's got a chainsaw now, I guess." Like if you didn't know who Hillbilly was, you'd be like, "Where the fuck did he get a chainsaw from?" Like it doesn't just magically appears. It literally doesn't make any sense reading that. As you were going through it, I was looking at it and I was like, no, none of that actually makes any sense. And it doesn't say how he killed his parents, just says slaughtered them. So did he use the chainsaw on them? Like, I still don't fully. It's like the trapper lore, right? It doesn't actually make sense why he uses traps in his lore because he actually blew up the mine. So his weapon should be dynamite or something. Like, why is he using bear traps? Like, it's literally like they didn't give a shit in the old characters and they just went, oh well, that'll do. Whereas now, like if you look at one of the newer characters, like the Knight, their lore goes on for like 30 pages of backstory.
Yeah, like it's an entire book, my guy.
Holy crap. It's like R. Tolkien or whatever his fucking name is wrote it. It like doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's crazy how you went from like Goosebumps type books to Lord of the Rings for the lore. Like the length is insane. But yeah, this doesn't really make any sense to be honest.
Yeah, but like still, like even though a good amount doesn't make sense, it's still a good lore though. Like,
it is. Yeah, like, there's bones. The bones of it are good. I think they need a nice middle ground between the old lore and the new laws that are coming out. They need.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground here because like at least 2 lines of that doesn't make sense, And then right at the end, they were like, "Oh yeah, just forgot to mention this guy has a chainsaw." And it's like, "All right, okay, thanks for throwing that in at the end."
Like that, but then it comes over like that.
It's like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, you can still hear him running around with his chainsaw." Wait, when did he get a chainsaw behavior? When the fuck did that happen? You just made that up right at the end because you forgot to mention he had a chainsaw. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, he just randomly found it in the chat.
Are we gonna cover his perks because they're not in the shrine? Right?
Yes,
so we'll probably cover
as
them now.
every single character in Dead by Daylight, the hillbilly has some personal perks as well. It's gonna be enduring. Reduces pallet stun duration by 50% at tier 3. Enduring has no effect while carrying a survivor though. So when you get stunned when you're carrying a survivor, the full stun duration will be going there. I honestly think just by itself, the perk is decent. It's not the best. It's not great or anything by itself, but it's decent. Like you can catch some survivors off guard sometimes with it. So I would give this a 6 out of 10.
Okay. I think
like if you combine it with others, obviously it's gonna be better. But
yeah, so I agree with you, but I will add, and I actually said this on my very last stream I did because someone made me run Enduring Spirit Fury on Oni, and which is obviously the normal perk you pair this with, right? Spirit Fury. I actually think it's complete bullshit that this perk doesn't have an effect while you're carrying a survivor. Because you've dedicated a whole perk slot to this to reduce pallet stuns. There's no fucking reason why it shouldn't have the same effect while you're carrying a survivor. Because if they get the pallet stun, right, you've already dropped the survivor. Like, if you've used this perk, you should be still benefiting, I think, from the 50% reduction. Because you've dedicated the perk. It's like if they use Decisive Strike and they get to use it. I know it's nerfed now or whatever, but people still run it.
It's still strong though.
They get the benefit, right? So, you're running a perk to avoid pallet stuns. I don't think that should stop just because you're carrying a survivor. Like, that to me doesn't really make sense. I think if they changed that, I think this would then go from probably a 6 to like a 7. Because then if you got pallet stunned, you could probably catch up with that survivor a lot quicker.
Yeah, but like that, I think that's also like one of the bigger problems in Dead by Daylight in general. They kind of play it really safe if it comes to killer, but if it comes to survivor, they just don't give a fuck. They just go full out, and then they think, oh, it's not strong enough. Let's buff it again. Like, just for example, what's gonna happen soon? Back in the day, they buffed Boil Over, right?
Yeah.
Like it didn't need a buff. Like nobody was using it at that point. So like I get you wanna put more meta perks in there so people will switch it up, but they are not gonna switch it up because they wanna win. So they are gonna use the real strong stuff that actually makes you win the game. So they overbuffed it. Everybody was using it straight up after that. And then they nerfed it again, and now it's in a kind of decent spot.
Yeah.
And then now they are gonna change the wiggle progress thingy, where if you hit a skill check, you're gonna like make the killer sway more, and like it's gonna be harder for the killer to walk towards a hook.
Yeah.
So that's an indirect buff for Boil Over. But they don't think about that stuff. Or maybe they do and they just don't care. And they are like, well, it's the killer side, so like, that's going to struggle with it. So, sure. Like, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, like, I think that's like one of the things, right? Like, that's holding them back. They are playing it really safe if it comes to like killer.
Yeah, I mean...
So then...
Yeah, it's the same with all of it, though, isn't it? Like, I mean, me and you have spoken about this quite a few times, not off the podcast anyway. And it's just the game is very much survivor sided, isn't it? It still is.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Like some things I get.
Yeah.
And if you look all the way back from where the game started, like they have done a lot of changes. Like back in the day, it was horrible to play killer. You kind of didn't want to play killer, but then also you had like where you could like literally insta mori people. So they fixed that at some point pretty quick, and then
yeah, that's
you
true.
needed to hook at least one time before you could mori, and then after that it went to 2 hooks. But like most of the player base probably is survivor, and I get you wanna make sure they are happy, but you also need to make sure the other side is happy, because otherwise you kind of need bots to fill in for all the killers.
Yeah, I mean that's
So
that's
yeah,
true.
like
Yeah.
you need to balance both sides equally. Like obviously the killer should be stronger than a survivor, right? Because it's a 4v1 in every single game. So like a killer needs to be viable, and if the killer isn't viable, then the survivors are gonna have a free game. So, and like obviously some killers are stronger than others, but
Yeah.
also makes sense because it's a different character. But that's where the balancing comes in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very hard to balance a game where it's 1 versus 4. Like, it's very, very difficult because it's always going to be unbalanced because you've got 4 people going against 1 solo person. So it's always going to be very hard to make that balance in the game. And I think they've done a good job of trying. Like, it's probably more balanced than it was, say, like in 2016. Like the game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, just looking at Trapper, where you could destroy his traps, right? Like,
yeah, you could.
That's very bully the killer.
Traps.
Imagine if you could stop the nurse from blinking now or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, it would be insane. So,
well, in a way, you can stop the nurse from blinking.
Well, yeah. I mean, not as on command as breaking the traps back in 2016.
Not true. Well, back in the day, you needed a perk or a toolbox. Like everybody was using the perk because there was no cooldown on it. But now, for like the nurse to not blink, you need a flashlight.
Yeah, exactly. So they've limited the way that you can abuse the killers. I mean, obviously, you've still got head-on, flashbangs, blast mines, flashlights. Like, there's a lot for the pallets. There's a lot for the survivors to use to fight back, so to speak, right? So you still get bully squads, saboteur, and toolboxes and all of that. But yeah, I think it's very hard to balance a 4v1 game anyway, just based on the element that there are 4 people versus 1 solo person. That's why there's tunneling and camping, right? We know this because you single 1 person out, you try and find the weak link of the team, you try and get them dead as quickly as possible, because 1v3 is a lot easier. And it's just, But yeah, I don't know. Going back to the perk side of it, I just think something like that is ridiculous. Especially when on Dead by Daylight fandom, it says underneath, he stops at nothing. But then it's like, well, yeah, he does, because if he's carrying a survivor, this perk does fuck all. So he does stop. He stops for pallets. So it's kind of like you've taken a whole perk slot to avoid pallet stuns by 50%. And if you're carrying someone, tough shit. Like, I just think that's so dumb. They should buff that, in my opinion.
Yeah, in a way, if they just change that, where you actually get their value still there, then like it would be decent. But like the other part as well, like if you're carrying somebody, you kind of don't want to go through a pallet, but sometimes you kind of need to. But
yeah, that's where we're going to see a power struggle meta coming in.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we were talking about flashlights, so that's kind of perfect for the next perk.
Yeah,
because that's going to be Lightborn.
Nice.
The auras of survivors attempting to blind you with a flashlight are revealed to you for 10 seconds at rank 3. Lightborn grants immunity from being blinded by flashlights, firecrackers, flashbangs, or blast mines. So, in general, this perk only gives you value if they have flashlights or firecrackers. Maybe if they have a perk like flashbang or blast mine, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's kind of okay. If they don't have it, you don't get any value out of it. So like it's a high risk, high reward perk, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not the best, but it can help you a lot if you like don't really pay attention that much in the game. I would say in the early stages when you try to learn the game, this could be a decent perk, and then you figure out that you need to look at walls, that you make sure you scan the area before you pick somebody up and things like that. So I would still give this a 6 because
Okay.
it's still decent, and it can counter entire squads with it as well.
I fully agree. I would actually bump it up to a 7, though. I'd give it an extra point just because the amount of times that I run this perk and you get stupid survivors who don't realize you've got it, even though they've tried to blind you already. And you can get so many, like, free easy hits where they're just standing there constantly trying to blind you, not moving. So I would bump it up 1 point above your 6 out of 10. I'd give it a 7. Just because it can lead to really easy free hits, which then normally turn into, easier downs because they're already injured from trying to blind you like a monkey.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like what I didn't take in mind as well, like they buffed the flashlight save. So
yeah, that's true.
like
That's
I've been seeing so many flashlights lately. It's insane. So yeah, like it's a decent a decent perk, I would say.
And
So
I'm
yeah,
actually,
I would say 6. You would say 7. So average like 6.5, right? So
yeah,
that's
that's
pretty good.
And I mean, the fact that it does actually reveal their auras as well is actually kind of nice. Most people sleep on that. And it's 10 seconds, so that can be quite good, especially if you're in like a strong jumble gin or like TL or something. You can see where they're going for at least 10 seconds, which is actually really nice. But yeah, it works against flashbangs as well, which I've seen a lot of recently. And Blast Mine seems to be coming back. I don't know if you're experienced that as well, but the last couple of killer games I've played, I've had Blast Mine and Flashbang and Flashlights all in the same match. Like,
Yeah,
it seems like we're getting a...
yeah. That's also because of the kicking gen meta from the killer side. That's why they bring Blast Mine again.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it's nerfed for no reason, but
Yeah, that nerf doesn't make any sense. This is one of the dumbest nerfs I think that they've done.
Yeah, so it was so random as well. Like instead of nerfing prove thyself, no, let's nerf Blast Mine.
And I don't know any killers that were moaning about Blast Mine. It wasn't like
it's just a little bit of waste of time, but like you need to work for it to get it. So like
yeah, it wasn't like loads of killer mains who are going, oh, Blast Mine's OP. Oh, you need to nerf that. It's really bad for us and it hurts my eyeballs. Like no one was fucking saying that like at all. So
yeah, it honestly makes no sense.
But yeah, I have an unwritten rule when I play killer. If I see 2 or more flashlights, I will bring Lightborn, unless someone's requested a specific build. I will literally swap a perk out for Lightborn, just to fuck with them. Because I'm like,
yeah, exactly. I have that rule for 3 or more flashlights.
I'm like, nah, you're not going to have your flashlight fun with me. Not today. Not today. I'm all about spoiling survivors' fun when I play killer. So yeah, Lightborn's nice. It's got a special place in my heart. Not as much as Noed. Noed's still my favourite killer perk, but yeah.
It has not only a special place in your heart.
It's got a special place on my leg now with the toe. Jesus Christ. The toe's pretty sick though, you gotta admit. It's good. I designed it well.
It's good.
And what's that? We're on the last one now, I think?
Yeah, the last perk is gonna be Tinkerer.
Okay.
And that's whenever a generator is repaired to 70%, you benefit from the following effects. Triggers a loud noise notification for that generator, revealing its location, and also grants the undetectable status effect for the next 16 seconds. Tinker can only trigger once per generator per trial. So, just because of that last sentence, I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
Like, you can get some value out of it, but it can only trigger once on every single generator. So when it triggers and they don't finish the generator because you push them off,
yeah, Okay.
After that, that generator is gonna be gone. Like, you have no info on that gen from this perk at all anymore. So I will be generous and I will give it a 5, just because of that.
Yeah, I think I agree, because the thing is, like, even if you ran this on someone who's got insta-down power, like, you know, Bubba or a tier 3 Myers, you've still got to get to where that gen is in 16 seconds.
Yep.
And that's kind of bullshit, really. I understand the nerf that it can only be used once per gen. I get that, because with the gen kick meta, if that wasn't in place, that would be really hard to combat if they're going undetectable every time and they've got Call of Brian, Eruption, Overcharge. Like, that would be an insane combo, because they would just be undetectable all the time. But I think when they nerfed it, they should have increased the amount of time. I think, personally, the amount of time that you're undetectable for. Because if you're at the other end of the fucking map, and you then try and decide to head to that gen, you don't make it, they pop the gen, and you've lost undetectable.
Yeah, precious time as well.
So I think they should have given you a longer undetectable period, because even if you get to the gen and it's a hopeless task, you know, you're not going to save the gen, you could still surprise the shit out of 1 or 2 survivors. It's normally 2, right? Running Prove Thyself, probably. You could survive the shit out of them, and you could still get some benefit from it. But it being 16 seconds, if you're a non-mobile killer, say Pig or something, right? And you're just running around.
Yeah.
That is, you know, and how much is that?
Bubba himself.
Yeah, even Bubba, yeah, we could stick with Bubba.
Like, he's just normal movement speed.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I know it's a hillbilly perk, and they're like, oh, well, hillbilly can get to most gens in like 6 seconds, so, you know, that's fine. But that only really extends to what, him, Blight, and Nurse? Maybe Wraith, I guess, if you're already cloaked. But yeah, I think 16 seconds is terrible. I think they could have gone with 30. I think that would have been nice. It wouldn't have been OP, but you could still get benefit from heading to that gen. Or even if you're in a chase. If you're in a chase and you don't go to that gen, the person knows you're in chase. So if you go undetectable, 16 seconds ain't long. They could fuck about at a loop with a pallet and waste that 16 seconds. So you're still getting no benefit.
Sure.
So 30 seconds would be nice, because you could maybe even peel off and head to a different gen if you know that they're working somewhere else, and try and get like a double Tinkerer sort of thing, if that makes sense. Like, oh, I got 30 seconds. All right, I'm going to head to this gen. I know someone was working on it earlier, probably close to proccing, and then maybe you get Tinkerer again. So maybe you get 60 seconds, like something like that, where like the effect could stack. That would be really handy, especially with like Prove Thyself being one of the main survivor perks now that most people run to speed the gens up. I think that would have been really nice, but just nerfing it down to once per gen and not really changing the amount of time you're undetectable for, I think, is a joke. So yeah, 5 out of 10. Yeah,
there are only 7 generators in the entire map, right? So like, you can only proc it 7 times, and like, nobody is gonna do 7 gens.
No, exactly.
Like, they are most likely focusing 5 gens, maybe 6 at best, and then they eventually have 3 left, and then it's just gonna be 1 gen at some point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly that. So yeah, it's a little bit like, okay.
I think they overdone it with the nerf, but yeah, it's the killer side. So that's the problem. That's literally the biggest problem of this game.
I know. Yeah, they've gone. All right. Well, how can we help survivors with this perk? All right, there you go. And then it's like, well, hang on. You've completely forgotten about the other side of the game, which is killers. And I think we've said it before. I think you said it before. If killers leave this game, there is no fucking game left. You need killers to play against. So if you're going to keep pissing off the killers, I know they want to keep their main, you know, base happy, which is mainly survivors. We get that. It's probably, what, 70-30 survivor to killer ratio, probably?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, right? And it's like, okay, well, if you don't have that 30%, if that becomes 20, then 10, then 5-0, then the survivors, who are they playing against? You're going to get bot killers? Could you imagine? Could you imagine they bring in bot killers to keep the game alive? and you're playing
And then
against
you would bully
like
the shit. You would bully the shit out of those bots.
yeah, and then like trying to you can't even mug them off in like in-game chat when they're running like Noed, fucking all the fucking gen kick meta perks. I'd be like, oh Jesus Christ. You'd end up in like a 2-hour 3-gen on Dead Dog with the Knight or something crazy because the bot's like super insane, and they're like, I just got.
Oh, the game cuts out after 1 hour now. So.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good then, because I saw a video where someone held the game hostage for like 2 hours, and I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, imagine bot killers like that. The game would just die. So they really do need to think about the other side. I think when they're making these changes to these perks, because.
But like, what I don't get, right? Like, people play games, especially versus games. You play that game to win, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I stand in it, right?
Yeah, me too.
Like, if I play a versus game, obviously I want to win, but I want to have a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
On both sides, not just like if I play killer, I'm sweating my balls off. Like it's insane, dude.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's so fucking stressful. It's ridiculous. So like, I get depth art, I get off the record, decisive, reassurance, prove thyself, hyper focus, takeout, all the meta stuff you see that survivors use. I brand new parts and all the items and stuff like that. Like they bring everything, and then I'm like, okay, sure. Like I'm not a killer that runs Eruption, Carl O'Brien and stuff like that. On some I do, but not on every killer.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah.
And then I'm like, dude, and then I need to tunnel. I need to camp, like at good points in the game to make sure I have the pressure going good enough that I can actually win the game. But then obviously you are gonna have those survivors that are gonna complain about that you tunnel and that you camp. But
yeah, of course.
Like they don't think about what they are doing, right? So like I can literally say, like, out of that, if I play 10 games, I can 100% sure about that. I can say 9 out of those 10 games, I literally could say to the survivors that they are tunneling the gens.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it's alright, because it's the survivor side, right? So that's how they think. Then I'm like, no, that's not alright. Because if I do it on the killer side, it's wrong, but that's my objective.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to kill people as my objective as killer. And then when I play Survivor, like, I'm chilling, bro. Like, obviously I get tunneled, I get camped, but I don't mind. Like, I don't mind dying when I play Survivor.
Yeah.
Obviously I play to win, but I don't mind if I die. Because I already know I'm gonna waste so much time of the killer before I die. So... like, I'm good for it. Like, when I play Survivor, especially, I would say throughout the year, last year and beginning of this year, like, I'm just playing Survivor to get chases, to get some epic plays and stuff like that, right? That's why I play Survivor. Like the gens, I don't mind. Like, I'm still doing gens obviously, but like,
yeah, of course,
I don't mind escaping. I just want to get some good chases in. I want to get better in that. I want to get some epic plays, epic endgame saves and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And then that's how you become a better survivor. Doing gens is easy. Like, everybody can do that. It's just hitting skill checks.
It's boring. Like, I understand bringing prove thyself, because I do it because I'm like, okay, I just want to get through these gens, as quickly as possible. Because it's boring sitting there holding a button and then just hitting the occasional skill check that comes up. That's boring. Even I really enjoy chases. Like, I like that because I can see where I'm going wrong and I can try and improve. Like, back when I started, and you were playing with me when I was pretty much new to the game, right? I think I maybe had like a couple of 100 hours on PlayStation before I came over to PC. And you know what I was
Something like
like,
that, yeah.
my whole chases relied on me hiding in lockers and hitting head-on stuns. Like, that was my chase. I didn't have looping or anything. I found a loophole to carry me in chases and extend my chases because I was using quick and quiet and head-on. And then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should really look at this looping thing. And then you showed me a few bits, and then I went on YouTube. Yeah, I was looking at like True Talent and Otzdava and things like that, because Otzdava's great at breaking down like tiles and when to loop and where to like look for the killer and mind games and stuff like that. So I then fell in love with trying to chase, but I still run windows and things like that. Like, I'm not an experienced, survivor looper. I'm not like a god tier. I still rely on windows a lot, and I'm slowly getting better. But the chases are the fun part as survivor. Like, I much prefer now to try and see how long I can last in a chase rather than sit on 3 gens. But I think a lot of people feel that way because you probably experience this as well, and I think most people listening to this do as well. When you're in solo queue and you're in chase and you're actually doing well in chase, how many times have you gone, someone do a fucking gen? Holy shit. I want 3 gens to pop right now. I've been in this chase for fucking ages. You go down, you get hooked. Maybe 1 gen pops if you're lucky while you're on hook. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what the fuck was everybody else doing? And I think it's because most people want to do chases and they're almost like waiting for their turn to be in chase or to flashlight save rather than doing the objective, which is the gens. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
really awkward. It's really awkward. Solo queue can be a right fucking nightmare. It creates great content, don't get me wrong. Like, me and you get awesome content from playing solo Survivor on stream, and it can be really funny and entertaining. But also, as a player though, like a player first, like, I don't play DBD offline that much as Survivor. If I play offline, it's either because I'm with friends or I'm playing killer. I really don't play solo Survivor anymore offline if I'm on my own. I have to be either playing with friends or I'm playing killer.
With friends offline.
Yeah, so it's either friends or you're playing killer, right? You very rarely play.
Yeah, I need to sweat my balls off stream as well when I play killer.
Yeah,
I won my rank 1, so.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not really playing solo Survivor anymore until we hit stream, and that's because I really believe that our mental capacity, and that's just not me and you, I mean everybody who plays this game, I think your mental capacity would be so fucked if you tried to play solo Survivor all the time. Like, it's not that fun an experience half the time. You're paired up with random people. MMR can't normally find people that really match up to you in the time that you're trying to play, so it filters in people just to make a lobby. You end up with maybe 1 survivor who's really good. You've got yourself, and then you've probably got 2 others that shouldn't be in that game, to be totally honest. But because of speed,
like that's yeah. But like, honestly though, like, I don't mind solo queue. Like, if I would be playing off stream more, I would play off stream like more Survivor, right? I probably would not mind doing it solo either. But like, when I started with streaming, I played a lot with friends.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to grow, so I stopped playing with friends on stream. And I sometimes still do, but it's like not that often.
Yeah.
And then like I started going solo games and solo queuing up, right?
Yeah.
But that means I'm gonna play more with friends off stream because I don't do it on stream that much anymore. But
yeah, exactly.
I would not mind going solo off stream either. Like, I still have fun in my games. Like, I always say this. You need to create your own fun in the game, and if
Correct.
you don't do it, then it's not gonna happen.
No, I agree.
Like, I play with head-on, I play with like deception, with all the diversion, all those kind of stupid perks, like kind of troll perks, not meta stuff. Like, I create my own fun. I go for chases, and I wanna get better in chases, even though most people already say I'm a good chaser. Like, I still think I can do better.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I'm still pushing myself to get better.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me going, even in solo. Like, I think 2 weeks ago I uploaded something on my Instagram, like a clip from literally 4 minutes 6, and it was just 1 chase.
Yeah.
Against the piggy, and they did 2 gens in that entire chase. Like, 4 minutes, that should be 5 gens.
Yeah, that's true.
Literally,
That's very
that
true.
should be 5 gens. But like if I get 3 or 4 gens there, that's fine with me. That's
Yeah.
fine with me. But they were only did two, and I was like, dude, and then like I was already like 2 minutes in or something, and they didn't do a gen yet. And it was like literally what you just said. I was like, dude, do those fucking gens. But yeah, the things happens, and obviously you can get annoyed by it, and you can like say something in the heat of the moment while you're playing, right? But like, I honestly don't mind playing solo. I honestly
Yeah.
don't.
No. Yeah, I do and I don't. I'll probably play like a couple of games, and if them games are not great, or I've had like real bot like teammates, I can easily just be like, I'm just gonna play killer. Because I literally offline, if I'm not playing with friends, I will focus on killer, to be honest. Because I enjoy
Yeah,
killer.
exactly.
I enjoy killer. Was really a killer main before I met you guys, to be honest. Before I met you and Eve and Tiago and Pim, I was literally probably a killer main, to be honest. I just found it a lot easier, I think, because I'm used to like first person games, first person shooters and things like that. So the killer role felt a lot more comfortable. And I enjoyed it, like playing characters, because I really came back to Dead by Daylight because of the licensed killers. Because when I picked it up in 2016, I didn't like the game. I really didn't like it. They had like 3 killers. I didn't really vibe with them. The survivor side felt really difficult for a new player, like because there was no tutorial or anything back then, right? And I didn't know what perks were good. I didn't play with any friends because I didn't have any friends in DBD at that time in 2016. So yeah, that's probably why I only had about 200 hours, because I was like, fuck this. I was like, honestly, like it wasn't top of my list. Now it's one of my favorite games. But yeah, I only came back to DBD because of the licensed killers. They got Myers, Freddy, Pig, and Leatherface. And once they're like, some of my top, and obviously Ghosty, and I was like, fuck it, I need to pick this game back up again. And it changed so much, and I didn't realize, because I wasn't in the community and I wasn't in the loop, I didn't realize how much the game had changed back from 2016, and I liked it a lot more, and I found Survivor was a bit more accessible. But if you don't have friends playing the game, I think it's quite difficult, unless you're going on like YouTube and watching Otstava and True Talent and content creators like that who are quite helpful for beginners. It's quite hard to pick up what's good and what's not good to run. Like if you're just playing the game without viewing it online, it's actually quite difficult to know what's good to run and shit. Because I've met brand new players who have the worst perk loadouts I've ever seen in my life, and I'm like, oh, don't run that. And they're like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, all your perks suck. Like, with the greatest respect, every perk slot is filled with something that's like trash. And I'm like, no, don't run any of those. So it's quite funny. It's quite funny to see that.
There are a lot of perks as well, right? So like
so many.
The amount of choices you have are a lot. Like there's a lot of stuff you can pick out of. So that's also yeah. But yeah, like if you don't try stuff, like I started solo as well. Like before I met you guys, I was playing solo.
Yeah. So was I.
And like I was a survivor main, so like I just played all survivor like day in day out, all by myself.
Yeah.
Like how I see it, like people can learn a lot by like watching streamers or YouTube videos, or just by practicing, figure out what's working for you, what doesn't work for you. Like you don't need a full meta loadout to make it happen. Like, and sometimes the full meta loadout is not even the way for you, like maybe if you run a full meta loadout, you still die a lot, and then when you don't run a full meta loadout, you maybe escape more, like
well, you gotta know how to use them, right? You still gotta know how to use those perks and the appropriate time to use certain things. Like sometimes you'll have Unbreakable and you'll have a point during the match to use it, but then you're like, but I might need this later, and it's like knowing when is the right time to use perks like that. But yeah, I mean, we've gone off on a massive tangent, by the way. But no, it's a common debate, I think, in terms of DBD, it boils down to the balancing again, doesn't it? I think everything comes down to the balancing at the end of the day.
That's the most important part of the game to keep it healthy, I should say. But at this point, it's not in the healthiest place.
No, hopefully it'll improve. I mean, the one good thing about behavior is, and this will be the last thing I'll say on it, but the best thing that they've done is they've taken a game that was okay, and they've just kept grinding and reinforcing different aspects of the game, building new aspects of the game, but they've taken that core game and they've dragged it through, rather than like Call of Duty or FIFA, where they're like, FIFA 207, FIFA 208, or whatever the fuck they're on now.
Exactly.
Like, Dead by Daylight could have done that. They could have been like, all right, okay, scratch that. We'll use that as a base model. Let's do Dead by Daylight 2, Dead by Daylight 3, and mug off the fan base. But they haven't. They've been very affordable in the things that they've added. Like, buying a killer isn't expensive. You know, it's very well done. Instead of making £40, £50 on Dead by Daylight 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and keep going, they've made a smaller amount of money, but I think they've got quite a loyal fan base because they haven't mugged off their community. They've literally gone, right, we've got this game, how can we make it better? And they do listen. Unfortunately, they mainly listen to survivor mains, but, you know, that's by the by. At least they listen to their community in some aspects, and they do try and improve upon that game. Because if you put this side by side with 2016, it's a fucking different game almost. Really?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, this could be Dead by Daylight 10, right?
But like, not only graphic-wise, but like also like gameplay-wise.
Yeah, exactly. So it's almost like they have come out with Dead by Daylight 9 or Dead by Daylight 10, and we're in it now, but it's without mugging off the community for financial gain, which I think is good, because that, to me anyway, says that they care more. They care about the game. They care about the community. They might not always get it right, and we slag them off all the time. Of course we do. But overall, they're one of the few companies that I know that have done that with a game. You know?
Yeah, they keep going, and they don't give up on anything, you know? They keep grinding, what you already said.
So I think we do need to give them
that's good.
A tiny amount of credit. And for keeping Bubba. We'll give them a little bit of credit for keeping Bubba.
Yeah, for keeping Bubba, they get a lot of credits from me.
Have you got a Steam guide for us?
Steam guide, yeah, obviously.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Like, it's the best opening ever, because it's party time.
Ooh.
And bring your friends.
We will.
We begin with the basics. Hunting survivors can be stressful. Sometimes we simply need to relax. Why don't we have a party? If you are tired of running in circles, being blinded after every single pallet, and don't want to be the clown anymore, let the survivors come to you. Don't believe me? Have your own party and see. Make people think you want to gather them for farming, that you want to D-rank on purpose, and that you simply don't care. Pretend to be AFK and wake up if they are about to farm points out of you. Try it out. Number 2, we have the hosts of the party. Obviously, we need the hunters, because what is a party without some good music? Her lullaby rocks the house. Then we have Mr. Hillbilly. If the party is about to fail and the guests want to go home, he is our man. He is fast, so he can follow the people that forget their car keys. The big man himself, Leatherface. It seems like people don't trust him. Usually they don't even think about making party with him. But once the house is full, nobody leaves early. The Shape. Usually people don't make parties with him. The reason is people can't find his party location at all. Most of the time he is sitting alone in the corner, dreaming of having at least one friend. He also has a bad taste in music. If the music gets too weird, people usually want to leave. The party location. Make sure to be home, aka the basement. Before the first people arrive, if your guests are arriving, we need to be ready to offer toolboxes and medkits. If you plan a party, you need to make sure that the guests, are safe. Plan the escape routes. In a case of emergency, people could start to panic. You need to be there to calm them down eventually. Waiting for the guests and making friends. When the first guests arrive, make sure you offer them medkits and toolboxes. If people hear about your good party, their friends will probably come as well. Be the party popper. A good party can end without moving down your guests with a chainsaw. You need to have good timing. Sometimes people leave your party and come back later. Some will stay. Some won't arrive at all. Stay calm and don't let them know about your real intentions. It might happen that it seems like you have failed, but suddenly everyone is coming back to say goodbye after the exit gates are powered. If you engage early, you have still time to find the others. So don't always wait for a full house. 2 guests can be enough. So that was a good one. Like it's a classic basement bubba.
Basement bubba.
Right. So you
can't have a party without basement bubba. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's the one thing for sure.
Oh my god. Okay. And that probably then leads us to our next segment, which, as always, is Shrine of Secrets. We have missed a few weeks, unfortunately, but illness on both parts, and I'm moving home, or did move home. I'm still in the process, I guess. I'm still moving. But we are back with it. Do you want to kick us off with the first killer and first survivor?
Yeah, sure. So the first perk of the list is going to be Object of Obsession. It's
Nice.
a Laurie Strode perk. When the killer reads your aura, and for the same duration as they do so, Object of Obsession activates. The killer's aura is revealed to you. Increases your action speed in repairing, healing, and cleansing by 6% at tier 3. If you are the obsession, your aura is automatically revealed to the killer for 3 seconds every 30 seconds. Increases the odds of becoming the killer's initial obsession by 100%. And as always, you can only have 1 obsession in the trail. So they didn't say this with this perk, obviously, that you can only have 1 obsession during the trail, but if somebody else becomes the obsession, this perk doesn't work anymore for you. So that's a side note as well for it, because that's important stuff. If you wanna have some fun with friends or something, don't take 2 of the same perks with this, because it's not gonna work for 1 person. In general, it can give you some info. Like, it also will give the killer some info, but like, it's not that great. I would say it's like a 4 out of 10. Back in the day, it was really good, but now it's not good at all. You don't see it often, and when you do, it's kind of working in your favor, I would say, as a killer.
Yeah, I think I agree, to be honest. You don't see it that much anymore,
No,
to be honest. I think I've maybe seen it once in like a year. You know, it's crazy. But yeah, I think you're right. I think I fully agree with your score as well. It's pretty trash. There's other perks that are better for seeing the killer. Like Alert, I would say, is probably better, to be honest.
Yeah. Alert is really underrated. Wiretap as well has gone really high up.
Yeah, I underestimated Wiretap actually when it first came out, but since I've seen people using it, especially when playing solo queue, it's actually really handy. Like, I really underestimate that.
It's really good. It also like covers like up and downstairs, right? So like if the gen is up, it also covers the downstairs. So it's pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Then we have our first killer perk, and that's going to be Collaterophobia from the Clown.
Ooh.
For all survivors within your terror radius, the following effects apply. Reduces their healing speed by 50% at tier 3, and increases the rotation speed of healing skill checks by 50%. Honestly, this perk is actually pretty decent. Like, it can fuck you up so bad because of the speed if you don't pay 100% attention to it. Like, the skill checks are actually pretty, not pretty difficult, they are decently difficult. Like, if you don't pay attention, you miss it really fast. So I would say this is a 6 out of 10. Combining it with others will be a lot stronger, obviously, but just by itself, I would say 6 out of 10.
Yeah, again, I think I fully agree. I mean, if you stack it, as you said, with other perks, it can probably boost up to maybe even an 8 out of 10, also depending on the map. Because you see it a lot on Wesker now, with like Distressing, Starstruck, and, other Terror Radius-like perks. But yeah, I think I fully agree. On its own, it can be good, but again, that could really be dependent on the killer and the map. So, yeah, as a base perk, again, fully agree with you, mate. Fully agree. Full agreement.
Oh, Mike, can we have the other 2 perks out of the shrine?
You can indeed. So my first survivor perk is Appraisal, which is an Elodie perk. And you start the trial with 3 tokens if you bring this perk along with you. And when a chest has already been opened, you can consume one of these lovely tokens to rummage through it for an item. And you can rummage through the chests at 40%, 60%, and 80% faster, depending on which tier you have this perk at. It's nice. It's a nice perk. It can be really handy, I guess, if you're in a tight spot and you need like a med kit, or you want to speed up the last gen and you want to get a nice toolbox. But realistically, how helpful is it on its own? I don't know. I'm toying between a 4 and a 5 out of 10 because it does exactly what it says on the tin. You're probably going to use it at least once in a game, right? You do get 3 tokens, so you can rummage 3 times. But is it really that useful compared to all the other perks that you can use as Survivor? Probably nah. So I think a 4 out of 10, I think I'm going to lean in towards. Just because it's, not that helpful. Especially when you've got, like, say, Pharmacy, for instance, right? That's guaranteeing you a med kit. If you're going through a chest in a dire situation, you need a med kit. That's what you're looking for, right? So, yeah, I think based on that, I would probably give this a 4 out of 10.
Like, that's Pharmacy is when you open a chest, and this is when this perk applies when the chest is already opened.
Yeah, sure, but I just think if you're going through a chest, 9 times out of 10, what you're really looking for is a med kit. And I think the fact that you're almost guaranteeing that you get a med kit. I mean, this is good in the fact that, if a chest has already been opened, you can still use the chest. So I guess that's the counterpoint, but I don't know. I think there's other things, especially when you can just bring a med kit, You don't need to waste a perk slot at all for either of those 2 perks, really. You can just bring a med kit anyway, which you've probably got through the blood web, because blood points are, in abundance now. Everyone's multi-millionaires when it comes to blood points these days, so
yeah,
there's an abundance of med kits.
That's for sure.
Yeah, so if you could just bring an item and free up a perk slot, I think that's what's bumping it down for me, is the fact that it's not that necessary. If it was an exhaustion perk or something, then, you're looking at it differently because it's probably a lot more useful. But when it's just related to opening a chest, okay. I mean, if you paired it with, what's the Ace perk that guarantees like an ultra rare add-on or something, isn't it? Something like that, one of Ace's perks.
Ace at the hole?
Something like that, right? I think if you paired it with that, then you can get like really cool shit. But again, it's kind of niche, Stop opening fucking chests and do a gen. Maybe would be my advice.
I would agree on the 4, but You also have some loot goblins out there. I got you. For the loot goblins, this is a 10 out of 10.
The loot goblins. I like that. You're going to get some loot goblins commenting on this now saying, yeah, thanks for that, Mitchell. Yeah, you didn't forget about us.
I got you. I'm a collector myself. I don't use this perk, but I'm a collector.
Okay, and then our killer perk that's left is Dead Man Switch, which I think most people will be aware of is a Deathslinger perk. So, I think most people know what this does, but anyway. While it's activated, any survivor that stops repairing a generated before it is fully repaired causes the entity to block the gen until the effect ends. And obviously this only prompts when you hook a survivor. So there is a slight downside to this in the fact that you actually need to hook someone for it to activate. So that will factor into my scoring. But you do get a nice little white aura around the gen if you do manage to pull it off, so you know which gen's been working on. So you do get a little bit of information as well. So not only is it gen slowdown, but you do get information. So that's going to bump the score up a little bit. To be honest, on its own, I don't think it's as good as when it's paired with, say, Pain Resonance, right? That's what you normally see this with. Pain Res, Dead Man Switch, DMS, they're a pretty good combo. You hook somebody on a Scourge, the gen pops off, I think, is it 25% progress? At tier 3? 15, sorry. And then it's blocked, right? So then you're at least going to get even more of a regression because the gen can't be touched because Dead Man Switch is blocking it. And since they nerfed Pain Res and there's no Scream anymore, Dead Man Switch replaces that Scream because it tells you which gen is being worked on because it gives you the white aura. So it's kind of like the antidote to Pain Res being nerfed because it now tells you which gen's been worked on. So you do see them often together, but as most people know, we judge these on their sole merit. Is it good? Yes. Is it great? No. I think I'm leaning towards a 6 out of 10 just because it does give you information and it does slow down gens when it works properly. The only downside, as I said, you do actually need to hook a survivor for it to work, whereas there's other gen slowdown or regression perks which don't require you to do anything apart from kick the damn gen. So I think I'm being maybe a little bit harsh, but I think on its own 6 out of 10. Maybe paired with Pain Res, I'd probably bump it then to a 7. What do you think?
Well, if you compare, if you use it with Pain Res, definitely a 7. If I would use it, if I use it alone, I would say it's a 4 out of 10. Because first of all, you need to hook somebody to even have a possibility of activating the perk, and then second, you need to actually pressure the gens where they're working on to get the effect of it. Like if they don't let go,
that's true.
It's not going to do anything.
That's very true.
So like, and if even if you have Pain Res, they just let go before when the hook animation happens, the gem will explode, but you are not on it, so it will not activate, and then you jump back on the gen. So
yeah, that's true. Actually,
like, then you counter it entirely as well. But like, then you still get like the value out of the Pain Res, and then if you find somebody, or if they actually need to save somebody, they can let go of the gen and you will still see it, so then you actually get the info. But like by itself, I would say it's gonna be a 4 out of 10 for me.
You've actually highlighted a few things that I kind of missed actually. So yeah, I think I would reevaluate my score. I don't think I'll drop it to a 4, but I think my mindset was more, if this works properly on its own, it could be a 6. I think I'll drop it to a 5 just to play devil's advocate between our 2 original scores. And I think I'll call it a 5 on its own. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of legwork that needs to be done if you're not running it with Pain Res. There's still counterplay if you do run it with Pain Res. And the boiling factor is you actually need to get a hook for it to even possibly work. So yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think I'll drop it to a 5. I won't be as harsh as you said. I won't be as harsh. But yes, no, I think a 5. But yeah, I understand your reasons for a 4 though. I do. Yeah, it's pretty trash. But yeah, so that wraps up our Shrine of Secrets this week. Obviously, we'll address next week, and hopefully we get some better perks. Because overall, in the shrine, I think it's a pretty weak shrine, really, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not anything special, I would say. Like if you wanna combine some perks, like there are some decent ones in there. Claustrophobia, Deadman Switch, Survivor perks are not that great, honestly. But like just solo perks value wise, it's like nothing special, nothing
Yeah, nothing to really shout about, but hey ho, there we go. So I guess that brings us on then to our very last segment of the stream, which is our featured streamer of the week, right?
Yeah, the streamer of the week, and I think you have a lovely streamer for us.
I do, and we've actually, well, I say we've met in real life, but we were sort of at the same place at the same time. I think it's probably more accurate, right, Mitchell? We were at the same location. So we met this streamer when we went to London Comic Con, and they were dressed as a Huntress cosplay, which was a very good cosplay, by the way.
It was really good.
Put together herself, very, very well done. We were in a group photo together, but we didn't actually converse. I think I was too tired and my feet hurt too much and I was sweating too much under my mask to socialise with anybody. So there was quite a big group of Dead by Daylight fans that we really didn't socialise too much with. But she was one of the DBD community at this convention. So the London Comic Con was last year, October? Was it? It was the Halloween.
Last week of October.
Last week of October. So the streamer in question is Abby Dennis TV, UK streamer. She plays mainly Dead by Daylight, but she is a big fan of League of Legends and The Last of Us. I know from speaking to her that it's one of her favourite games, one of her favourite game series. But yeah, she's a big DBD streamer. So please go and share some love. She does play on console and PC, so she streams from both. But she is a console-based Dead by Daylight streamer, which I can get on board with because I started DBD on console and I still use a controller, even though I'm on PC. So I'm one of the controller noobs out there. I'm not quite adapted to keyboard and mouse, but yeah, definitely go and follow. She doesn't actually have a schedule as such up at the moment, so she does stream a little bit sporadically, but if you go and follow her on Instagram as well, Abby Dennis TV, you'll be able to see her schedule. Definitely go and drop her a follow and let her know where you came from and that we sent you there, because we keep sending you to these awesome people, so let them know that we're the ones driving traffic their way, because that is the whole point of this segment, is to promote wholesome streamers, not just to promote ourselves, because obviously, you know, that'd be a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but we like to support the rest of the community, especially the Dead by Daylight community. So we're trying to drive up the wholesome streamers and send people their way, because that could be the streamer for you, you know? That could be the vibe, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like, everybody has his own vibe, and like, if you don't look for it, then you're not gonna find it, you know? So make sure to check it out.
And I just need to quickly read her about me, because it's very short, but it made me laugh. So it says, just your average mentally unstable Twitch streamer, PlayStation streamer, UK cosplayer. I like to play Dead by Daylight and other random stuffs. Here to build a community of friends to support my terrible gameplay. If that's not the most humble and funny about me that I think I've read on Twitch so far, I think that's the top spot at the moment. That's quite funny.
So I think that's a nice wrap up right there. I think, right?
Yeah, we covered everything. Obviously, we'll look to record yet another podcast next week. We're back on track now. I'm in the new house. I've got everything working, apart from one of my monitors is a little bit fucked, but you know, it's workarounds. But we're back to it now. 2023. We'll be dishing these out weekly. So yeah, anything left to say, Mitch?
Well, as always, guys, I hope you have a blessed day. And we will see you in the next one.
Stay groovy, bitches. Peace.